Hey, this is Willie T, and this is Stoner News. Hey, thanks for tuning in. In today's Smoke Shop News, we have a ban on shipping vape products happening this week. The most recent COVID-19 relief bill signed into law contained a part called the Consolidated Appropriations Act of 2021. The new law, which was inserted into the federal omnibus spending bill, mandates that the U.S. Postal Service create regulations within 120 days, banning U.S. mail delivery of vaping products, whether they contain nicotine or not. The bill was so vague that the wording included all vaping products, including all cannabis CBD and flavor-only liquids and devices. Existing United States Postal Service regulations allow manufacturers and distributors to ship cigarettes and smokeless tobacco to each other, but not directly to customers. If those rules carry over to vaping products, vape shops will still be able to receive products, but individual customers will not be able to receive home deliveries. In addition to banning United States Postal Service deliveries of vaping products, this forces vape product sellers into the Prevent All Cigarette Trafficking Act, which is part of a larger federal Jenkins Act. The PACT Act imposes a series of stringent requirements on shipments. The PACT Act has historically exempted business-to-business deliveries from the USPS ban. Specifically, the USPS ban does not extend to tobacco products. Mailed only for business purposes between legally operating businesses that have all applicable state and federal government licenses or permits and are engaged in tobacco product manufacturing, distribution, wholesale, export, import, testing, investigation, or research. See 18 U.S.C. 1716E, B, Section 3. Without effective delivery options, PACT Act compliance becomes kind of hard. Many vapor businesses are exploring arrangements with private logistics and transportation companies, as well as expensive software solutions to help comply with the PACT Act requirements. But the outlook for many small vapor companies looks really bleak. Sellers who do not register or comply with the requirements of the PACT Act are subject to severe penalties, including prison. The PACT Act provisions of the law take effect in late March and apply to all online sales, no matter which carrier ships. FedEx has already confirmed it will end vapor product shipping as of March 1st. DHL and other major shipping services previously banned domestic retail shipments of e-cigarettes and nicotine-containing products. UPS just announced on April 5th, 2021, they will no longer transport vaping products to, from, or within the United States due to the increased complexity of shipping those products. We're going to stay tuned to this story and bring you guys more. And in other news, we have a funny news that's kind of a messed up news. Remember the funny cat video that just came out? Here, check it out real quick.
Turned on in the video settings. You might want to take
we're trying to, can you hear me, Judge?
I can hear you. I think it's a filter.
It is, and I don't know how to remove it. I've got my assistant here. She's trying to, but I'm prepared to go forward with it. I'm here live. I'm not a cat.
Rod Ponton, a small attorney from Texas, captured America's attention last week after he showed up to a virtual courtroom meeting looking like that. He couldn't figure out how to turn it off. He goes on to say, "I always wanted to be famous for being a great lawyer. Now I'm famous for appearing in the court as a cat. However, this isn't the first time Ponton has made it on national news. In 2014, he was involved in an unusual drug case against a local head shop owner who at one point in time was released from jail only after promising not to say she was being persecuted because she was Jewish. We have a video right now we'd love to show you. Check this out.
On May 7, 2014, this smoke shop in tiny Alpine, Texas was raided by law enforcement for the fourth time in 3 years. But this time was different because the DEA was in charge, as part of the Obama administration's Project Synergy Phase 2, a national day of raids meant to take down purveyors of synthetic drugs who then funnel cash to Middle Eastern terror groups. Alana Lipson, the Purple Zone's owner, a 29-year-old Jewish woman and self-professed supporter of Israel, was shocked to learn she was a target of the federal government, but she soon realized it was local law enforcement that had put her on the DEA's hit list. The Purple Zone enjoys a loyal following among college students, but is a lightning rod for some of the town's more culturally conservative residents.
You either really, really love me and you like what I do, or you really hate me. There's no in between. I've been called a dirty kike. I've been asked where my horns were. I've been told to go back to Jew York. I've had people come into my store and tell me my store was fucked up, that I was poisoning the youth of the town, even though I have a big sign that says 18 plus. I mean, the bars here in Alpine don't even have ID scanners, and I have an ID scanner.
They came looking for evidence that Alana was selling spice or synthetic drugs, which Alana sells as potpourri in the incense section of her store.
10 to 12 men, like SWAT team style, came in, started tearing through everything, and arrested me, arrested my mother.
So your mother's never been an employee here, and she's not a co-owner of the store,
No.
and she has made no investment in the store,
No.
but they arrested her as well.
Yes.
And she's still under indictment.
Yes. They claim chemically that the chemicals are MAM 2201, XLR 11, and PB 22. You can buy these products online. You can buy these products at any gas station, any convenience store. I mean, all the stuff that I bought, I know was legal. It always came with a lab report, you know, it was legal in Texas, it was legal federally, there was no issue with it. It was always marked not for human consumption.
Lacking the budget for further lab tests, Alpine's District Attorney Rod Ponton went before the Brewster County Board of Commissioners, pleading for thousands of dollars in additional funding. He was refused. Out of resources, but intent on proving Alana's criminality, he would find a willing partner in the DEA, an agency without his budget constraints. The Obama administration's Project Synergy Phase 2 launched raids all over the country on May 7, 2014. Led by the DEA and armed with a Brewster County search warrant, members of the Border Patrol, Department of Homeland Security, Brewster County Sheriff's Office, and the Alpine PD stormed the Purple Zone. Local businessman Tom Cochran took pictures of the scene.
Well, when I got there, I got some pictures of the DEA agents actually coming out. I got pictures of the door that was broken. After they left, I got pictures of how they ransacked the inside and turned off the security cameras. There's broken glass all over the floor. There's blood on the ground from where one of the agents had apparently cut himself on his way in after they'd broken the door down.
Arrested for violating a little-known federal law prohibiting the purchase of ammunition while under indictment. But before she could bail herself out of jail, she was presented with a bond document requiring her to recant statements she had made to the media accusing the DEA of assaulting her sister. The document also compelled her to ask Tom Cochran to remove the photos of the raid from his Facebook page.
We were so shocked. We took a picture of it and put it online so people could actually see the handwriting of the officials. This is what you're going to say to get your bond. You have the government forcing someone who they're trying to prosecute into essentially confessing before they can get a bond. I mean, that's unconstitutional.
Because if they seized in the 2014 raid came back from the labs as being negative of anything, no substances were found. They were all herbs. People would always come in and ask me the strangest questions like, can I smoke this in a pipe? Or, will this get me really high? And, I'd immediately look at these people and I'd be like, you need to get out of my store. I really think that I probably threw out more people than I sold to.
Now we've seen from documents provided by the district attorney that there were dozens of attempted DEA buys of what they thought were controlled substances, but which turned up nothing.
Right. The list said, DEA buy on all the different dates. And all the things that they bought were either kratom or tobacco alternative herbs that, came in bags. And so, yeah, they harassed me a lot.
A mutual acquaintance introduced Alana to a local lawyer who shared her interest in Arabian horses. His name was Rod Ponton.
he had invited me to meet his horses, at his house and possibly work with them, so I thought, oh, job opportunity, this is great. He asked me if I wanted to drink some wine, and of course I said yes. A bottle of wine later, I was a little tipsy, and one thing led to another, and I was involved sexually with him that one time. And before that, he said, you've made such a nice breakthrough with these horses. Do you want these horses? The few times after that, it was just kind of, hey, let's sign the papers over to me, and really never responded back to his phone calls. I was really disgusted with myself, and I remember being outside on my property and seeing his car drive by really slowly. It was almost like as if he was stalking me.
Rod Ponton was elected Alpine's district attorney in 2012, and since that time has crusaded against the Purple Zone. In one court motion, he referred to Alana's singular incorrigibility and accused her of poisoning the youth of the town.
I mean, she wasn't breaking the law. As the test had proven, she wasn't doing anything wrong. And they just chose this stance, just to prove a point. And I think that's really a troubling thing for, not just here in Alpine, but in our society in general. We see it all over. Yeah, there's no reason for a militarized raid on a smoke shop. This is something they could have handled in a non-confrontational, non-violent fashion.
In September, the federal government dismissed all charges against Alana and her sister from the 2014 raid. But Alana pled guilty to state charges of felony possession of a controlled substance. In exchange for her plea, the charges against her mother were dropped. And as a deferred adjudication, the case goes away without a conviction if Alana completes probation. Why would Alana plead guilty to selling controlled substances that were not illegal at the time of her arrest? Perhaps to save her mother and sister from prison. Perhaps to avoid prison herself. Perhaps because fighting these charges has cost her more than $100,000 in legal fees and lost property. As part of the plea agreement, Alana is free to leave Alpine, which she plans to do as soon as possible.
Made a lot of good friends here. Love the area, it's beautiful, but it's become toxic. I never wanted to aggravate anybody. I don't do this for fun. This isn't a hobby. This is how I make my money. This is how I support myself. This is how I live.
Now, isn't that crazy? This has been Willie T with Sorry We're Stone News, and we're going to keep bringing you new and updated stories every week. So like, subscribe, and share, and thank you for tuning in.